Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. I'm so incredibly honored to have with me today my friend, Dr. Dee Baer. How are you, Dr. Dee Baer?
I am fantastic because I'm with you.
Well, same here. I'm with you, and I'm excited and honored to be able to have you here today. Listen, everybody, I'm not even going to talk about Dee Baer until you all grab your virtual seats and that you go ahead and share the broadcast and let everybody know that we're here. I know many of you are now able to watch on Roku and Apple TV and all of the different streaming devices, even on television now. So we thank CTR Media Network for that. So if you haven't downloaded the CTR Media Network app on Roku and the different on-demand channels, make sure that you do that, and you will be able to click on The Kim Jacobs Show and have it right in the comfort of your home, okay? So, Dr. Dee Baer, I dressed up for you today. I don't know if you can see, I tried to be snazzy.
Oh yes, and I wore my ruffle, see with my little ruffle shirt here. Just for you. We're snazzy, yes we are.
Well, I wanted to come on today because a lot of times during the holidays, especially, people are dealing with an exorbitant amount of stress, and they're not exactly sure how to manage the stress level that they're experiencing. And sometimes we try to deal with it on our own individually, but really you sometimes need outside help, even counselors, therapists, YouTube videos, whoever can help you get the help. What we're going to talk about it in detail, but I wanted people to hear in a nutshell what they can expect from today's episode. We're going to talk about someone that's very near and dear to you. So we'll save that piece as a surprise type of thing. But let's talk about, too, what else they can expect from managing stress overall.
Because, and it's such a good question, stress. We all have it. If we don't have stress, it's like a rubber band that's just flaccid. It doesn't work. You have to have a certain amount of stress in your life. And so that's why I call it embracing stress, Kim, because you can embrace it with gratitude. It's like my great friend and colleague and your son, Ivan, who was in our first Healthopedia book, author extraordinaire, NLP, Rex Sykes, one of my bestie. There he is. Hello, Ivan, you handsome boy, you. And young man he is. But Rex Sykes says, celebrate everything. So celebrate everything with stress. And the reason being, I recently went through something that you don't think. They don't actually give you an owner's manual on how to become a widow at the altar. They just don't. And my husband transitioned from this life into his eternal reward September 29th this year. And I'm going, whoa, this is why you haven't seen me a lot. I kind of took a hiatus off just for me. That's the first tip I want to give you with stress. Don't think you have got to keep do. Just like the holidays, you've got to, if you celebrate them. Some people don't, it doesn't matter, but we still, especially women, we have this turkey platter that used to be a full platter, and a turkey platter, the gravy will spill over. And especially, death is like number one on the Richter scale. And especially when you don't expect it. But all stress is there, and managing it just makes me feel like I've got to control it. Let's talk about embracing it, like I'm going to say again. Rex Sykes says, celebrate everything. And so my my hashtag and everything you've seen on social media, whether it's even my personal bear, Robert Jody, and I'm going to keep it that way because my Big Bear will always be my Big Bear.
We're going
And
to talk about Mr. Baer here for sure, and great,
yeah,
because I want everybody to really know who you are, but then I want them to hear more about your love affair. So can I introduce you, because I didn't
oh,
introduce you,
oh,
and I want to make sure I
right,
give
right
give
ahead.
people the formal understanding of who we have here, and then we're going to go into a lot more detail about your life and how beautiful it is. A beautiful love story is what it is.
Yes.
So everybody that's tuning in today, I want you to know that we're honored to have this powerhouse in the world of holistic health, because when you're listening to who's here today, you want to know her backdrop too, and what she does and what she offers to the world. She's actually world renowned now as well, I always say America's top foundational health coach, but she's actually world renowned top foundational health coach right now. So she is not only a PhD in holistic nutrition and a certified health coach with over 42 years of experience. So this woman knows exactly what she's talking about, but she's also a best-selling author, an acclaimed corporate health consultant, a nationally ranked Olympic distance triathlete. Okay, there's so many pieces to what makes up Dr. Jody Baer's life. She's also helped people shed over 1 million pounds of toxic waste. And we're going to talk about all of that as well as she's International Health Operation for Patient Education Initiative. And these are just some of the initiatives that she's actually undergirded. But most recently, she's behind a very inspirational book called The Essence of a Woman. And we're going to be talking about that during the second half of today's episode, and helping women embrace our authentic selves in this world as we bring our essence to the universe. So I'm so excited to have Dr. Jody Baer here. And I did not want to keep going without acknowledging all of your accolades. Thank you for being here today, Dr. Jody.
Thank you for having me again and again. I just realized when you were talking about my bio, and it says 42, it's now 47. That's how long we've known each other. 5 years.
47. You know what? I had this back in my old emails. That is crazy.
Well,
How
but we've been together for 5 years. You just say, there are just some people that come into your life for a reason, a season. You're here for a lifetime with me, Kim. That's
same
right.
here.
I mean, that is so way cool. And so it just to bring you to where we decided to do this, where I did and I'm just going to jump right on in just like I do. I have a new hashtag. If you're listening to this broadcast and you're going through, it may be, you see it in December, but you might have, okay, it's coming up to your anniversary with a loved one, or it's some things that you always do together. Embrace that moment.
Yes.
And my hashtag now is, and will always be when I give this message, hashtag gratitude and grief, because there's gratitude in it. And when you can find that gratitude, Kim, you will bring up that frequency of regeneration for yourself. You see, when you stay in frustration and anger and hate, and you've heard all this, then you go into that degeneration of your own self, and it's disease. The next one's death. So it's just imperative. Find that blessing. Even in, they all said, my mom always said, you can't find a silk person who sows ear. Well, maybe you can. Right. And this is one of those times that you can really do that. And so I want to give, as many of you know, my foundation, my 47 years when I had my practice with my 1 million pounds of toxic fat, 35,000 clients, what I've done during COVID. Kim, you helping me get online, because I didn't even have a website when I first started, and we connected.
5 years later, look at you.
There we go. And I just want to say that it's always been about the 6 pillars of foundational health, whether it's Healthopedia, the first book that I was in, and then, yes, I know I strong armed you. It was the best wrestling match I ever did win to get you into the essence of woman. I just wanted your story. The Balanced Doctor had to be in our book. And this book, it's always been my practice, my life, and these books, Healthopedia 365, you can find me everywhere, is spiritual. You're not agreeing with that. We are spiritual beings in a physical body here on earth.
Yes.
Okay. And it's spiritual. Then it's physical. And that's what people think, but oh, no, 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 no. You know what it is? It's mental. Because the
Mhm.
mindset, our Heavenly Father gave us our mind. Then
That's
we go
right.
into our emotions, then the physical body, then financial and social. And so those are just not something that I created. This is in, traditional Chinese medicine. So is it okay if I just give some tips about each of these 6 pillars in embracing stress? If you find that you're in really an untenable situation and you may not know where to go, and you're right, Kim, find someone that can help. And let me tell you something, your
What?
support group may not be your family.
It may not be because, and so elaborate on that some, because your support group can come from all over the place. From we're a support group to each other, and we're in a
Yes,
women's organization together. So
right. Exactly. And it's so find people spiritually, mentally, and emotionally in those three that really lift you up. And look for people, and it's okay, as I'm going to say in the mental health. So I will just say that I am in the spiritual realm. I just want to briefly say that when my husband transitioned from this world to the next, I had the amazing opportunity to actually feel labor pains. Kim, you've had 5 babies.
mhm,
I've had two. And I woke up from my personal self-care, which even through this time with my Big Bear, I did every Wednesday, every Saturday. Find your rhythm and keep your rhythm if you're going through stress. It will allow you to embrace that, which is starting to be a turkey platter. Just a couple of minutes on this, but I just feel that it must be said because, first of all, I am a spiritual being. I am a faith-based woman, and I believe in heaven, and I know I'm saved.
mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
So knowing that, I was in my hotel room and I woke up, I had a feeling, and it was that feeling, this is not like the Les Brown when we put in, that he doesn't want us to do, that
right.
physically in my lower chakra, in my pelvis, I felt pains. I couldn't walk. It was, and it took me quite a while to get to my car that day. And I'm going, this is the time. I knew, just like that verse in John that talks about when a woman goes into travail
Mhm.
and she knows that her time has come to be birthed. That is exactly what I felt. I got to the room and I knew. But you see, I even had the amazing experience to have the nurse that was on call that night. Her
Mhm.
name was Faith. And I asked for hot water. What in the world was I? Because I was birthing this baby, my Big Bear. And so if you're connected with somebody like this spiritually, he was and still always will be the love of my life.
Mm.
And I went and I held on, and these labor pains got stronger and stronger, just like birthing a baby, 9 centimeters. And there was less and less time until I went. And if y'all have seen someone as they transition to heaven from this physical body to the earthly body, and it
Yes.
goes to a heavenly body. And Bob Bear and I always said, he had a sense of humor just like I do. That's
Mhm.
why we got along so well. And I'd say, I love you, Bob Bear. And he said, why do you have to call me by my last name? I said,
The
there are a
whole
lot of
name, Bob Bear, my Big Bear.
I did it for 15 years. I love you, Bob Bear. And he said, why do you have to call me my full name? I said, there are lots of Bobs, but they're only one Bob Bear.
Mm.
But as men always like to just do a little bit more, he said, I love you more. And as he was transitioning on oxygen, and I said, I love you, Bob Bear. And I did this. He looked at me and opened his eyes. He said, and he tried with his tongue to say, I said, I love you more. And
Mm.
he was gone. But he's not gone. He's not gone.
Yes,
His spirit lives on.
his spirit will always be here. I want to put Bob Bear up so you all can see her Big Bear. This picture is when you all just talk to us about this moment in time.
We were getting married at the Biltmore. And we were here. And why did we get married at the Biltmore? Because Kim, his daddy was lifeguard after he was finished going to the University of Florida, and he was the lifeguard. Bob Bear being an archaeologist, we went on every single floor. We
Mhm.
knew Robert Harry Bear. He was Robert Henwood Bear. The picture was there. We went from the second floor to the eighth floor. We found it. Well, Robert Harry Bear was at our reception, his daddy. But you see, and for those of you that you live in Florida, you can just come on. We are going to have a celebration
Right.
in April. We had a beautiful tribute to Bob on on to me. It was like this is a faith based, and then we'll go on, time permitting, of course, to come back to this. We had a virtual celebration of his life. There were 144 people that came to the room for 2.5 hours. But we know, Kim, that 144,000 will change and lift the world. So that was his number. Because I said about Bob, because Kim, I sucked so badly at dating that Match.com gave me 6 months free.
Well, I haven't been on Match.com at all, so I don't know how it works. But
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But I mean, I think that they felt that sorry for me. And our mutual coach, Les Brown, the first time I said to his, you got to keep you know, going ahead and saying that, because that is so funny. But see, I knew spiritually. I took my Bible. I'd sworn off men, not going to date. I put in my Bible. I said, I want a man who knows who he is and knows how to get it. A man who's active and athletic, and a man who keeps me entertained past the appetizer. Well, Mister, I'm number 8 in all of archaeology.
Okay.
At the University of Oxford from all time. He was just ticked off about that because he wanted to know who number 1 through 7 were.
That's
but most of all in that spiritual pillar. And I will say, Kim, today is Wednesday, and I'm so honored. I am going to do the full story to honor my husband on a special Life's Milkshake moment, noon Friday. So I made sure it was after noon Friday, and you can watch it on YouTube on my channel, Healthopedia 365, because that is, to me, I just want to do that for me. So, and this comes back to
beautiful.
Embracing
the link, the information, so we'll know exactly where to tune in.
Okay,
This Friday, make sure that you all tune in at noon to Healthopedia, right? It's
Healthopedia 365. And that is our YouTube channel, and it will be there, and you will hear the entire story, because I can go on and on. But go ahead and find that woman, that man, that support, that those people that elevate you, that will let you tell the whole story as many times as you need to hear it.
That's right.
It is cathartic, it is spiritual. But I want to come back to one thing, because when I eulogized my husband on our virtual live, and I'm just saying, this will tell you the measure of the man. There were 4 men that spoke, and each of them bawled like babies.
Well, that's because his impact was so far reaching. And he had the biggest personality and just a lovable bear, even though, I mean, his name is Baer, but he was also like just a lovable Bear. He's just a lovable person. How long were you all married? Tell everybody how long.
15 years, and this is how we met. And then we're going to go on. When I had that in the Bible, this is good. Ladies, there's hope for us all, okay? Because I went ahead and I was doing my thing. I was running on the beach. A man who knows who he is and knows how to get it. A man who is active and athletic. And he kept me interested with 5 master's degrees and 2 PhDs. The only thing I knew more than he did was about baseball. Okay. But other than that, he had me beat. But
so you were running on the beach. Finish your story. You were running on the
beach. Yeah. So this was the deal. I'm running on the beach, doing my thing. Now, what did I look like? So not like we look now. In July, after 4 miles, I was sweaty. I looked good. I looked not good. And I smelled not good. And he came up to me and he said, "Excuse me, are you single?"
Oh, so y'all didn't even meet on Match.com. You met through him seeing you on the beach running 4 miles, sweaty, not too fresh. And he walks up and approaches you.
And he said, "Excuse me, are you single?" And I'm going, "What, you?" And he said, "I'm Dr. Bob Baer." I'm going, "Well, okay." I said, "What kind of doctor are you? Sounds like you want to be Dr. Love." And you can see my smart aleck remind. Then he goes, "No." Right. He said, "I am not a stalker. Here's my Department of Defense badge." I thought, okay. And he said, "So you are single?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Are you dating?" He said, "No." he said to me, I want to ask those runner legs out for a glass of wine.
Okay, so this right here is the epitome, just so you know. I know this is not what the whole show is about here, pertaining to how they met, but I want to chime in on the fact that that's the perfect example of how God will have somebody find you. Because I'm like, how is somebody going to find you? We're like running on the beach, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
literally.
And how providential this is. Ladies, just be you. Men, just be you, because it is that law of attraction, is that true spiritual manifestation. Because I had just gotten back to my condo after having a pretty debilitating car accident.
Mm.
My husband, Bob, just got back from his tour in Islamabad, and I'll be talking about that on because he was working for the Department of Defense, and he decided on the same day that I had my car accident. He was in the Intercontinental Hotel in Islamabad, Pakistan, when the Taliban bombed it. And he said when he stepped over his 38th dead body, he said, I'm going back home. Guess what? I didn't have to look for the man of my dreams, my soulmate from my life, Kim. This man, when I said, okay, so I'll meet you in the lobby in my condo, and he goes, you don't understand. He said, see, the energy, he's with us. My earring just fell off. You don't understand because I am your neighbor. He was living 2 doors down from me.
Did he know? Had he already seen you before?
And he said, I've been seeing you for about 2 weeks. I said, you are a stalker.
Bob, oh man, I know you had some smooth, suave moves. I didn't know that about you until right now on the Kim Jacobs Show. So this is exclusive reveal right here on the Kim Jacobs Show.
The exclusive reveal about the band So Real. So keep that in mind. And why is this important, Kim? Because these stories, you see, when you think about embracing stress, think about the stories. You saw my energy here. I was, when I talk about him, the emotion comes up. But if you think about the beauty of the experience, that is the spiritual eternally. There you go. That was at my youngest son's wedding. And there we are. I was mother of the groom. And doesn't he look happy? That was us running that 50 mile. He did 50 miles on the beach, Kim. And it was in honor of wounded warriors, Tunnel to Towers. And he did it in 2 days. We're talking, I was bicycling, and we raised that day $50,000 for Tunnels to Towers. And if you want to donate something in honor of Dr. Bob Baer, do it to Tunnels to Towers, T2T.org, because that was
type that T2T.org.
Yes.
Donate in honor of, I'm trying to type this too, in honor of Dr. Robert Baer, B-A-E.
That was because he always said he was the one that got lucky getting through. And from 3 tours of duty in Vietnam, it was really a real beauty, a beautiful thing that he wanted to do. And so spiritually, keep those spiritual things. And I'm just going to say one more thing, because I ended his eulogy, a man who knew who he was and knew how to get it, because that was my affirmation. But I said, now I know that he is up there. And what is he doing? He is excavating the rest of that archaeological dig to lay the rest of the streets of gold for all of us who will follow. Because a man who knew who he was and knew how to get, but now he's got it. So focus on those memories. Focus on that spiritual part. Mentally, I will just say, I've already said it enough. It's focus. It is focus. Sometimes it's hard. There we were in Hawaii. Didn't he look happy? I'm telling you.
Very happy. Y'all, just so some of you are asking, what are we talking about today? We're talking with Dr. Dee Baer, and she is the world-renowned foundational health coach. And this woman is the host of Life's Milkshake Moments, and she's also a wife, an entrepreneur, in a book with that she's actually spearheaded with Tiffany Haddish and Princess Maradian and all kinds of other people that are in this book.
And Kim Jacobs.
I'm in the book. Yeah, I'm in the book too. Okay, but listen, that's what we're talking with today, Dr. Dee Baer. And right now we're talking about how to embrace stress, because she just recently had her husband, and these are some of the pictures we're putting up, that she has been married to for over 15 years at this point. And Biltmore, they got married there, and he recently transitioned to be with the Lord. And so her earring just came off as a sign that I'm right here with you, sweetie, is what he was saying. He said, sweetheart, I'm your Big Bear, and I'm hugging you tight to the point where your earring just came off right in the middle of the show. Embracing stress, but keeping your loved one's memory alive. And how do you go about doing that? Right now is a perfect example of how you're keeping his memory alive. And how do you plan to do that, especially if people are dealing with stress, dealing with grief?
And mentally, find that mental focus. I say something, you need something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. And we'll get into the looking forward to now because and I will say mentally, after we launched this book, which we had to do because that was our last conversation, Bob's and my last conversation in the hospital. Because he said, didn't you have a book launch? This is a man who had an ischemic stroke. His mental acuity was way on back. He saw our book in the proof column, and he said, it's not your caliber. He said, it looks like a Danielle Steele novel rather than the PDR. Wow. He said, this is what you need to change. This font. And he said, don't squeeze the font in. If it's 500 pages, it's 500 pages, which it ended up being 523 pages. And he looked into this and he said, and he fanned the pages of the book, and energetically he went right to my picture. He goes, who's that pretty girl? And those are the kind of mentally, I hear him mentally, that when we did our launch, which we'll get into a minute, and then a 3-day live summit, I was spent. Embrace your stress. I was done, even though I knew I had to do it. Why? Because of that last conversation came. He said, so you didn't do your book launch? How come? I said, because you were getting well. And he said, I'll be okay. Did you come up with a new date? And I said, yes, it's October 18th. He said, well, you better do it then, boo-boo. And then he started naming off 32 of the 40 authors. He said, I know them all. He said, remember, you tell Dr. Khalila, you tell that Dr. Khalila Ali that I edited her chapter for her. That's why it's so good. Because Bob was a world-renowned, not only archaeologist, but his book, The Ancient Spanish Monastery, that he wrote from his dissertation, The Lost Monasteries, William Randolph Hearst, is in the permanent archives of the Library of Congress. All of his books have been multiple bestsellers. What the good news is, mentally, Kim, as I'm doing the excavation of our home, because we had a few things in there, right. I have found 5 books that are already complete that he didn't publish yet.
So that's how you're going to keep his memory alive. Look at how God works. You're saying stuff that I didn't hear you say before. And I've been on a lot of groups with you talking about Dr. Bob Baer, your Big Baer. But to hear you say some of these things today on the Kim Jacobs Show, it just makes my heart leap for joy. There are 5 unpublished books he's written that you're going to be able to publish, the master publisher that you are, in his honor. Wow.
Yes. And what is so amazing like this, and that's why I said to you, when people say, how are you mentally? Okay is not a word. Okay. Saying I'm getting by is not a word. That's neutral. You come up with something. You can say, great. You're great in your mind right now because you're connecting with somebody. And my word that I've had forever and ever, I'm going to give Scott the Rhino Harris, a business colleague of mine, way on back. He always said, fantastic. He's from Kentucky. And I'll say, fantastic. Because if I say it long enough, it will change to being that frequency. It comes into me. So mentally, it's so important. I mean, when I found those books, because we had a kind of a secret, he would come downstairs and goes, I got a surprise for you. I said, what is that? I got another book I'm publishing. I didn't even know he was writing it. And you talk about discipline. I found notebook after notebook. He would do it for the entire year. And he would go ahead and he would put it down there. And what would he do? He would say 1,000 words, 1,000 words, and he would put it on that 30-day sheet. He did it every single day. He was just a master writer like that. And if you hear a little knock, housekeeping might be coming in. I'm at a hotel. I'm on
You know what? This show is about how we balance our lives.
my
And
lives,
most
whatever.
people that I interview are balancing their lives real time. So
Really.
have them come on in and go on and keep it moving. Don't
Do
even
my thing. But I will tell you, but mentally strong, that attitude of gratitude, celebrate everything. I didn't know when I wrote my chapter, The Woman in the White Robe, that I was truly that woman in the white robe.
That you would really be the woman in the white robe.
Who
Dr.
knew?
Jones, it's crazy how God
Who knew?
works.
Who knew? Our Savior knew, and he was preparing me, because that was a vision I had in my meditation after I was a single parent, raised an empty nester. And I was doing a group meditation, and I saw myself in a white robe skipping across the rocks and effortlessly just helping people with my hands outstretched. And I did not know. So mentally, let's go on emotionally. Feel the emotion, but give yourself, even if it's picking up your phone and say, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes because dwelling on that, when grief comes, embrace it. It's okay. Cry. Cleansing, as a health coach and holistic nutritionist, health practitioner, cleansing. People get a sinus infection, Kim, because they hold back emotion.
Yeah.
It's not because we're going through a different change with the weather, anything. They're holding back, and it goes into your liver. Let me tell you something. My liver didn't quiver for about 3 months as I talk about it, cleansing and detoxifying, doing all those things. I'm going to get into this physical practice that I did do, even through rehab, even through Bob's second hospital stay, everything, because you have to feel that emotion, but have that emotional anchor, whatever that is. And my emotional anchor has been that picture that you showed up there. And the other one, Bob always kissed me right here in my pineal gland. And that was, and I don't think, but it was but I look at a picture like that and I think, I am that happy, because I did a rap for my women that helped me to support me in becoming Mrs. Baer. And by the way, here we were on a reward trip in Cancun, but we were close to Chichen Itza. Those were his backpack, those 100 backpacks that he did for those orphans. He was so proud of himself. Here we are. But he told everybody in the crew, there were like 100 of us there, and he goes, I'm going first. You know what he did?
What?
He took his backpacks and he took those 100 children. He goes, these are my kids. And he went over and told them the real history of the Mayan and Inca. And there we were on the second reward trip. Humor, does that do it? I mean, we were filling the seats for our event in Orlando. I brought everybody Mickey ears. You know what he did that night, Kim?
What?
See, that's that emotional anchor, remembering those stories. You know how women take a little longer to get ready. We're back in the hotel room, and I'm leaning, because he had gray hair, right? And I'm leaning over. I'm going, he's got something black on the top of his head. We had done this in Maui, done this ride and everything else. Because Bob was 6'2". See those Mickey ears?
Oh, that's cute.
And here we have an Oxford PhD, world-renowned himself. And I'm going, okay, he's laying, there's something black on the top of his head. He was playing possum in the bed. And I said, Bob Baer, what are you doing? He goes, leaving my Mickey ears on unless I shower all day, all night, until we have those 300 seats sold. I am going to be Bob Baer. I am going to be Mr. Mickey Mouse until we get those seats sold. And he did, to the degree that we got on. I mean, people just cracked up because he looked so serious, but he had such an impish way about himself. Went ahead and we got on that trip because we were flying into Orlando, right?
Okay.
He kept the Mickey ears on, just like he told me that book has got, you finish the job, Boo Boo Bear, because your women are counting on you. He said, I'm keeping those Mickey ears on. You use it for a conversation piece and see if anybody wants to join us in Orlando. We sold 5 tickets coming back from Maui to Orlando. But it was a way, his way of adoring me, supporting me. And physically, that's why I know me staying physically strong during this time. You can go on my website, drjodee.com. You can find everything that I talk about, my daily routine. I kept it up with my autonomic nervous system walk. I went ahead and did it every single day. Even being here, doing the filming that we were till 12:30, it is my must have. That is my physical anchor. My physical anchor, because it's really diet and exercise. But when you eat alkaline, especially during this time, I did my green miracle drink. You can find it on my website because it was alkalinity. But for some reason, I don't know why, the day Bob passed, what did I do? I decided to go ahead. There we were, the 6 pillars of health. And I'll
That's
wrap
what she's
it.
talking from, everybody that's watching right now. She's talking about some of the pillars of health that are the 6 pillars of health in the book, Healthopedia, that's just like almost like an encyclopedia for health. And this book is filled with just extreme amounts of health nuggets that would help you be able to get to the other side of some of the things that you're dealing with in life. And so,
And in the physical pillar, you will see the Ivan Jacobs, and
oh,
he's in
Ivan,
the
my son, everybody. That's my son. He's in the book. He's the youngest author in Healthopedia.
and the one that needed the least editing because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And also Ivan is there with his wonderful healthy weight loss that he did, his 100 pounds in our Bestsetterian portion of there. And every single one of those recipes in there, that's Ivan. That's not Ivan now. Look at him. And he is just, and Major Fit PT. I just adopted him and Jeremiah when we did Boca. I did our event for sure. And the most important thing about this in the physical pillar is that when you're going through stress, and to embrace it, I went ahead and did my pH strip to see what my alkalinity was. I was like distilled water. I was so acidic. Of course I was. My husband had just passed. So keep track of your acidity. Eat an alkaline diet. Go ahead. There are many recipes that we have in the Healthopedia book that Ivan can lead you to. I have things under nutrition. I haven't dated it much lately in my website, but you can go under the blogs under every single recipe, and this book has every single one that will keep you alkaline. That is so important. Wheatgrass, keep that going. But financially, who knew? And maybe you find yourself as a widow or a widower going, death is expensive. Know that this will pass too. The people that you have helped in this world will help you.
So because we're going to transition to, and I want to make sure, because you're saying the people that you help in the world will turn around and ultimately help you.
Yes.
When people are navigating and dealing with the loss of a loved one, and I know you're just literally just on this journey yourself, but you're already so masterful at how you are able to lead by example. It's unbelievable to witness.
Thank you.
What advice would you give people, Dr. Jody, that are nowhere near with how you're dealing with this so gracefully, about finding their purpose and being able to heal in the aftermath of such a profound kind of loss?
It's a quote, and it's my quote. But your success in life is found in your daily routine. The next day after Bob passed, I made a list. And then it seemed overwhelming. But if you say, I'm so overwhelmed, guess what you're going to be? You're going to be overwhelmed.
Right.
So I said, okay, so there's boxes. There's the business box. And yes, I did take off 2 weeks. I went to remember, after our podcast, 300,000 people saw our 3-day event on the Essence of the Woman. We raised so much money, and it was so beautiful what we were able to do for the feedthechildren.org up in Western North Carolina, in your state. Yeah. Through Hurricane Helene. But you can't keep giving and giving and giving just like it's business as usual. You will give out. I took 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, I slept for 2 days. I slept for 2 days, got up, brushed my teeth, went back. I said, and why is that important? Find that anchor in your daily routine, daily prayer and meditation. 20 minutes will be like 2 hours worth of sleep. Find that thing which makes you feel fulfilled. So I have these boxes. I kind of got off on track here, but
no, take your time. Take your time.
But I know that I had my Bob Baer box. I had my Jody box. I had my business box. And then I had my everything else box. And I wasn't allowed more than 2 things in every box per day.
So let's break that down a little bit more, because that's what you're saying is so helpful. And you know what? Let's do this. Let's just take a quick commercial break.
Yes,
Give
let's
you a
do.
chance to just get your tickle in your throat. And
Had to.
then we're going to come right back, everyone. Right after this break, we're talking again with Dr. Dee Baer. And you don't want to miss anything that we're discussing. We'll be right back.
Be the spark that ignites change. Join us at the Ignite Your Life for Life Virtual Summit, where resolutions reignite and dreams refuel. December 14th, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. It's an unforgettable day of growth and transformation with outstanding speakers that will grace the Ignite's global stage. Tiffany Williams-Cara, Sherelle D. Mims, Aaron Page, Shirley Murphy, Dr. Lavella Mowbray, Brian K. McNeil, hosted by Dr. Lotus Richey, and co-host Coach Chuck. Don't miss this space to reset, recharge, and reclaim your dreams, and to head into the new year stronger, wiser, and more connected than ever before. Click the link in the description and grab your tickets today.
All right, everybody, we are back, and thank you so much for our episode sponsor, Dr. Lotus Richey with Lotus Richey Ignite Show. Make sure you check out that event. And if you're watching this as a replay and it's beyond December when that happens, then make sure you just connect with Dr. Lotus Richey on the Lotus Richey Ignite Show. All right, Dr. Dee, people that are going through grief, because we're going to transition to this book, The Essence of a Woman. But there are people that really don't know how to pull it all together. And a lot of times when you hear people say, just move past it, just get past it. I've had experienced death in my family that I'm never going to move past. That's not how it works. So I hate when people say that. Actually, I think that's just, I'm not moving past that. And I don't want it to be a philosophy that somebody tries to teach me. I want to embrace Gabe. I want to make sure that I keep his memory alive. And I do that through Gabe's Heart Foundation. I do that through putting his name on cards and things when I'm signing for my family, celebrating, putting videos, all kinds of ways. What advice would you give people to?
I would say, listen to Kim on this one, because just like what was happening to me physically, because this is 7 weeks. It's been 7 weeks since Bob passed and my Big Bear passed. And by the way, he called me Boo Boo Bear.
What did he call you?
Boo Boo Bear, because he was Big Bear. I was Boo Boo, like Yogi and Boo Boo.
Oh, so Big Bear and Boo Boo Bear.
I mean, he had names. And you see, keeping that memory alive, keeping that, and yes, he had a head of hair. And even from the standpoint of when I had that tickle in my throat, see, that was a cleaning because I'm speaking about it and embrace that. And it's coming from my liver. It is coming from my liver because there are certain things that were just not what I would say I'm going to coach this very well. It was not to my standard of care when he was in the hospital. And it significantly had a profound effect on his passing. Now, how do you get past that? And you say, but you have to say, I'm mad. I'm mad, but don't stay there.
Right.
Okay.
But you're okay to be mad now. Don't.
Oh, yes. Feel your emotion, but don't stay there. Feel your emotion. Last year at this time, a week passed. It was not exactly a fun weekend, Kim, because Bob and I had gone up to Chateau Elan. I received my Lifetime Presidential Achievement Award, and he was so proud. He was my best supporter. He always said, because I was a triathlete, he said, I'm the best athletic supporter you'll ever know. And he would come out with a jock strap.
Oh, man.
In the house. I mean, he just had a sense of humor like that. I'm her athletic supporter. See, I have my own. And it just a fun sense of humor. And it was just his quirky way. But yet thinking that we were doing that last year at this time, it was not something that I just didn't think that it would just fly all over me. If it flies let it fly. Know that it will have wings and it will leave. but let it fly over you, because if it doesn't, just like I needed to get water, I know what I'm going to do for that liver detoxification as a health coach. There are 5 detoxes and there are 5 seasons. No, Jody, there's only 4. Oh, no, no, no. After summer is Indian summer. And right now I'm eating a lot of lentils. I love my lentil soup recipe. Is in the Healthopedia book because it's good for your spleen and your liver. Look for foods that are alkaline and everything else. And my sister said, she said, "Are you just turning into a lentil?" I said, "Maybe. It's okay, but just give yourself grace and ease." And if you hear yourself saying that word, because coming back to the spiritual realm of things. Yes, there we were. That was a lifetime achievement award. It was fun. Thank you, Kim. You're so good with your little video.
I was trying to figure it all out back here. I'm like, I know that I've seen that lifetime achievement award. That's not something, again, that you just brush past. This man, Bob Baer, in 15 years, he lived life. You all lived a magnificent life together, going on multiple adventures, traveling the world, running, 50 miles or whatever, all of this stuff that is beyond human. God allowed you to experience it together, all because he saw you running on the beach and decided that he was going to become your Big Baer. So God orchestrated that union, and I'm so happy.
Totally orchestrated it without a shadow of a doubt. And so what I know is that this is how, I'm not sure how that happened. Hold on just a minute.
Yeah, take your time. Okay, everybody, what we are doing is we are talking with Dr. Dee Baer today, and we're talking about how to embrace stress, because when you are dealing with stressful situations, sometimes it's easy to just dismiss it and be like, let it overtake you, and then physically it's going to come out some kind of way, whether you need to end up going to the hospital because it's physically impacted you, or mentally you're under the weather to the point where you're with the blinds closed and the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You have to be able to have an outlet when it comes to dealing with stress. And stress is something that we're all going to have. So when it comes to stress, I'm the balance doctor here. I talk about different things in my book, Extreme Balance Makeover. But listen, when you're dealing with stress, it's interesting, because if you say you have no stress, then you've already passed away. All of us are going to have some level of stress in our lives, but it's how we manage it that matters. And so that's what we're talking with right now about this with Dr. Dee Baer, and she is back. So we're going to bring her right back up. All right, Dr. Jody.
Because Pedro had the wrong room, but I didn't need somebody to fix my air conditioning. Oh well, you go through it. And somebody says, "Well, are you going through another hurdle?" I said, "Well, I know how to jump. I'm a runner." Come up with something when people get, and they mean well, and they mean well, but then you say, okay, you decide that you can hold the whole world, but you only have to hold your part in it, and decide where you end and they begin. So this, I think, is very important. Like what I ended up doing last weekend, thinking that Bob and I were there. We were at Chateau Lalonde and we had pictures, and one of my forever pictures is when he just impishly decided that we were going to have our picture made in the gingerbread house. It's favorite picture of all time.
I love that picture.
Yes. And I said, and just because it was just on my mind, not being political here, but there's one picture of Melania with Donald Trump, and she's going, oh, she just has her hand up like this. I said, I have a manicure. I'm going to be Melania. And it was, and whoever came by and took that picture, and he looked as wealthy as Donald Trump. It was just a beautiful picture. Have fun in the moment. Embrace the moment. Embrace the grief, knowing that there will be times what you're going through as our wonderful coach and your family member, practically, Les Brown says, what you're going through, you'll get through. You won't get through it. You will never get over, Gabe. I'll never get over, Bob, but I will do this. It will be different. That's because right. Then I created something last weekend just for my Saturday, just for me, because I knew what I was doing there.
Tell us what it was.
And what I did is that I sat down and I read one of the books that he had in a manuscript. See, because I know on that Saturday, because as a big Alabama fan, and he was watching the game underneath the table. And if I was going to watch the SEC championship game, I would just be thinking, that's what we were doing. So I did something totally different for me, just went up and picked out one of his manuscripts and I started reading it.
Aw,
And he came close to me.
that's so
Yes,
awesome.
it was
So
beautiful.
awesome. Well, I think that his love surrounds
So
you.
find that different. Find that different for when Thanksgiving and when I think there's a little bit of a delay, probably because Pedro wanted to get in my room anyway. So I went ahead and said, well, I wasn't going to do what we normally would do for Thanksgiving, for instance. I had friends that came and we went a different place that Bob and I never get. Dare to do something different to create that next chapter for you, because there is, if you have life and breath. And one other thing that I didn't physically say, it's not new to me. It's not original to me, but box breathing. Make sure that you take in 4 breaths, hold it for breaths, but then you breathe out 5 and do it 3 times. And you do 3 times, which is a divine number. And I will say, just to, I know we've just been going on and on, but I want to say about our Essence of a Woman book. I want to just spend the last few minutes there if we can.
Yes,
And
I wanted to ask you about The Essence of a Woman is your latest project, because you're actually an author of multiple books, but this is your latest project. What even inspired you to create this particular masterpiece? And there are so many well-known celebrities that are a part of this anthology. So talk to us about that and what you hope for readers to walk away learning.
it is the same, and it's a great question, Kim. I mean, you were wonderful, such a wonderful host, and letting other co-authors come in here. And on launch week, I was here, and you always just are so supportive of me and of our projects and what we do here. And thank you for that. But these 40 authors, and there's that Kim Jacobs. She's all with her hip, her hand on her hip. Beautiful picture down bottom row to the right. There we are.
Yeah, that's me in the third from the, I don't know what side y'all are looking at it, but third over there on the very bottom row. And in my chapter, just so you know, it's called Who Knew? God Knew. And it's some things that God knew that I would have never even known would happen in my life. And I talk about them in the chapter of The Essence of a Woman. So please make sure you get a copy of it.
And you will be on Life's Milkshake Moments, because when Bob passed, we weren't able to get you on our show. So, we just have this collaboration, this sisterhood, Kim. Thank you for that. But it really was after Healthopedia, I knew that I wanted to do a women's book, and there will be a men's book. It will be called Real Men Are Aware, but I'm not doing it right away. See, I'm giving myself time with this. But
Right.
But it was Jim Marinakis, my co-founder and my partner here with Healthopedia, that said, the essence of a woman is in everything. It is in humanity. And it just took on a life of its own. And you can listen to future, past broadcasts on this, but what we're doing with the future after Bob's tribute on virtual, I said, I need something to look forward to, because what I said earlier on, something to do. I still had my work, but I just wasn't in it. It was like 3 cylinders, and yes, well, and Dr. Nefertina, our girl in the house.
Love Dr. Nefertina Serrano, and she's in the book, right? And then
please, yes,
is in the book. It's a whole bunch of people, but Dr. Nefertina Serrano is a person that connects so many people together, and I just want to give tribute to you, Dr. Serrano, for always being a great connector of resources and people. So thank you, and so honored to have you here today.
And how beautiful this was, that she went ahead and she came to me through you. See, because in between the hashes, even with Bob Baer, July 29, 1941, September 29, 2024, between the hashes, we need each other. So if you know that you need each other, you need that peace and that time. What a beautiful thing to go ahead and say, with this, and yeah, they're ringing on the phone. We're just going to ignore it because we're balanced.
Oh, don't even. I'm telling you, this show is about how you balance life. So you can go and just show that it's all fine. You can.
It's all good. But Dr. Jim and I had the privilege and honor, and he's worked with Tiffany Haddish of Girls Trip. She said yes to there she is. Then Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali, I showed you, she's here, The Essence of a Woman. We were just recently on the film set yesterday on a new film that's going, a documentary by Dreammaker Productions. Tony Doty, husband of Christina Doty, in the book, in The Social Pillar. She's right after you. And she taught, and it's so beautiful because she talks about the legacy of love and how they met. So you go from your thing for children and how her love story with her and Tony, just seeing them work together, on the set for 14 hours yesterday. But Dr. Khalila is in that movie as well. I'm in this movie. Then we have Princess Maradian. My goodness gracious, you ambassador for real. Thanks to Dr. Nefertina connecting us. Here we have Tiffany again. Here are the three Trace Amigas, real live princess, UN princess from Nigeria. I put her whole lineage back to the 15th century in there, and I didn't use spell check. I just did not, because it wouldn't have worked. And I did it. Why? So they knew that she didn't buy it. But this is what I'm saying and why this is so. And I'm going to tie this up in a real pretty bow here, because
bring it home for us.
Because it is out of the mouth, the heart speaks. Mm-hmm. Keep your heart sound in all six pillars. Keep it mentally secure. Make it spiritually secure. When I said to my Heavenly Father, I need something to look forward to. Out comes Tony Doty. And what did he call me out of the blue? Christina's husband said, would you like to bring your authors to Times Square? I said, say what? And the day before was the first miracle about this, because Princess Maradian had asked the Healthopedia authors to come to the UN, like the real UN. The only thing I've ever seen about the UN are the flags. Okay, just saying. Like the real UN. Yeah, the real UN. And I understand Ambassador of Peace Awards are kind of like the Academy Awards. She had asked me to be the keynote speaker and do book signings. So we would have both the Healthopedia books and Essence of a Woman book there to sign. And that was it. Then Tony Doty calls the next day and said, would you like to do Times Square? Now we have currently Healthopedia authors. Yes. Can't you see Ivan and Mama Balance Doctor together on that screen? You're going to be there the day before. And this just fell in. And then the princess called me the next day when I was on the road. Mm-hmm. Now, because of her stature, I had her on my show. I helped her edit. And she was our keynote for the virtual summit. What did she say? I heard what your husband did for humanity when he was alive. She was there for his tribute. She looked and saw what he did at the Department of Defense for 8 years, deprogramming Islamic jihadists, young men, so they could be acculturated into their society and be peaceful, loving ambassadors to the turn of 1500. She looked all this up. She looked up his book, Passing It On, which I found the sequel as good as the rest. People don't even know that it wasn't that World War II broke out in Austria. It was because of the British leaving Afghanistan with the Fakurda Ibi, and Bob Baer wrote the story. That's going to come out. And so she knew that. And guess who is going to get the be and recipient of the Ambassador of Peace Award, day number 2 on the 4th from the UN posthumously? I will be receiving the award for Dr. Robert H. Baer, PhD.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
So see, that is my quote in our Healthopedia book. And I'll just leave this with your authors. Oh, you found it. You are so good. You are so fun. You are so fun. So we're republishing this book because it is public domain now, with as good as the rest, because we really are thinking about the Middle East again, aren't we? So, and he gives that book. I'll just say one other thing, because I just can't help bragging about this man.
I'm so happy you love him like that.
He was contracted by the Department of Defense to write that book. Mm-hmm. And it was the book that every deployed man and woman read from 2001 to 2009, because it showed the psychology and the background of of Islam and Islamic terrorism. And so it was mandatory reading. So I would just say with Bob, he is one of a kind, but you are one of a kind. Just as my quote says, miracles occur every day.
Every day.
Every day. Beckon them in. What are you going to beckon in with your miracle today? Yes, I'm sad. Yes, there are times that I feel this. Yes, I had a tickle in my throat because my liver is still not real happy that he has gone. And notice, if you see my ring, I changed it. He gave me a new engagement ring every 5 years. He said I was due for an upgrade. I was due for an upgrade.
I love you, Bob Baer, her Big Baer, Boo Boo Bear, and Big Bear. Oh my
Yes,
God,
so this was my first engagement ring. It's a little smaller, but I put his wedding band behind mine and ours here. So we'll always be entwined. Know that if you've lost a loved one, you'll always be entwined. But if you immerse yourself in the flow of who you are right now, this is my quote in Essence of a Woman, immerse yourself in the flow of who you are and how you are becoming. How are you going to be becoming? Yes. How are you going to be with us in New York City when Tiffany Haddish, we hope, is on the Times Square billboard? Dr. Khalila is going to be there. We're going to be running out the red carpet there and the New York hams. And we're going to have a reel, and we're going to have a French restaurant with Simon, I think his name is Cynic, that's going to be there, the dream maker. And who is going to be doing all this? Tony Doty, the dream maker himself, being there in a way that he said, Jody, I want you to be in the documentary, The Frequency of Miracles. And I will just end with this, is that you are that miracle. You are that miracle for Gabe, of Gabe's Heart Foundation. Who knows that miracle is going to go with those 5 books that we're going to bring forth with Bob. There's always something to do, something to look forward to, because you had someone in your life to love, and you will always love them no matter what. And that is really the frequency of every miracles, because you are that miracle. Just as that relationship was a miracle for me, having Gabe in your life as long as was a miracle, and he continues to be that miracle. So let's continue to beckon in those miracles. Kim Jacobs, thank you for allowing me to share from my heart, even with the hotel interruptions. Thank you for being in my life, because you just immerse yourself, one household, one life at a time. You are truly an impact maker. And I truly, I could sing the song, but then they'd think that I didn't, that I'd go to the other side when I said, I always love you. But it's an agape love that I have for you, an agape love that I have for you and always will. Thank you, Kim, for allowing me to be your guest.
Thank you, Dr. Jody Baer. I could not have asked for a better person to come on to today's episode to talk about Dr. Robert Baer, and we're going to close out with him as well. But I do want to ask you all, if you have not already contributed and partnered with us here at the Kim Jacobs Show, the only way that we can keep our program coming on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time is through community contributions from viewers like yourself. So if you would take a moment and pour some type of contribution into the Kim Jacobs Show, so that we can keep bringing you balance to your personal household. And that way your family can have some level of better synergy, balance, harmony in your house. This is the way that you can do that. You can donate through Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc. And I'm saying that for the audio podcast listeners. PayPal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, or you can Zelle 704-962-7161. And you can also become a part of our membership programs as well through Patreon or through Mother Dreamer. Any comments you wanted to say at all pertaining to any of that?
Because she's worth it. $1 at a time. Because $1, but you are so worth it. And how we keep that balance is in 6 pillars. Really, when you take care of you and your world first, the world around you is empowered forever. Let's keep it empowered beyond our Mother Dreamer dreams, or my Big Bear dreams. They deserve it, but you deserve the best, because you have another chapter in your life. Just embrace it. Think about a hug. let's just give each other a virtual hug. And my fluttering wings that you can't really see because of the green screen, but I have this fluffy winged blouse on because it's just fun. Find something fun, something that to look forward to, but make it fantastic because you have this next chapter. And yes, if you want to donate in behalf of Robert H. Baer, you can go to Facebook and find everything about his books. Do you know that man got 5,000 followers in 3 days? When I put his Facebook page up, and I have never touched it because he said, I don't want to be known that way. Well, guess what? He always,
everybody wants to know.
Because he always said his name was, well, you're going to make sure that everybody knows me more after I'm dead than when I was alive. Oh, he said this years ago. He said, because you're Miss Joe D.
You miss Joe Dee Baer. You miss Boo Boo Baer. That she revealed that today, y'all, on the Kim Jacobs Show. She's Miss Boo Boo Baer, Baer. Make sure you all donate to T2, the number 2, T.org. T2T.org. It's in loving memory of Bob Baer, Robert Baer, Dr. Robert Baer, my Big Baer, as what she quotes saying regarding her husband, my Big Baer. And so today's episode is in honor of Dr. Robert H. Baer, Jody Baer's Big Baer, and his time of life here on this earth. If you could just let everybody know again from when he was born and to when he transitioned to be with the Lord.
And you have that picture of him kissing me on my pineal gland because I'm short and he wasn't. And that is his picture inside of that gingerbread house. My goodness, yes. It was even divine because the number 29 is 11. And 29 is 11. He was born on the 29th. He passed to his eternity on the 29th. 11 is an angel. And as we have something to look forward to, check my Instagram at Health Coach Jody. I don't do it on my business Instagram, but on Health Coach Jody or Healthopedia 365. It will be everywhere. 21st to the 27th of April. You know, I'm always going to have something else to do. We will have his live physical memorial at the ancient Spanish monastery. That's for another episode where he created and got his archaeology bug. And it's about his book, The Lost Monastery of William Randolph Hearst. Then we're going to move up to Pompano Beach, and we will take a portion of his ashes with his book and the USS Copenhagen with a ribbon, because there was no one I ever met in my life. His love was his work, and his work loved him. I was number 2, but I was way okay with this. So we're going to put his ashes, his book, with his work, biodegradable, of course, with that shipwreck in Pompano. Then we go up and do it in Jupiter. If you want to have a slice of archaeology and history, because we'll be saying it. And then we're going to go up to Cape Canaveral, rinse, repeat, Palm Coast at 100 Giants, where Pedro Menendez whacked the French. And then we'll end up in Amelia Island at Fort Caroline. We will be doing it 5 times, like the 5 components of Chinese medicine. But guess what else? But wait, there's more, as a Ginsu knife commercial. Robert Towns and Tony Doty will be filming, because we were halfway through filming a documentary on the life of Robert Baer. We have all kinds of audio. We have a terabyte of drone footage. So now we're going to do his ashes, of course, in due respect, but we're going to use that time to finish up the documentary filming so we can compile, because Netflix has given us a contract to go ahead to have his documentary by June 25th is when Bob Baer will be on the archaeology of Bob Baer experience.
Oh, this is such great, like, big reveals here on the Kim Jacobs Show. In June, you're going to be able to watch a Netflix special in honor of Dr. Robert H. Baer. I see you, Dr. Nefertina. I know we went a little bit longer today on purpose because this is just such a special episode. So here we have Toya Glenn saying, we honor you, Bob. And what I did was I put this over in your group, the Project Care Bear, so you'll see some comments coming in.
Thank you.
Over there, Dr. Nefertina said, Healthopedia. Wow, what a tribute. 5 times. Hashtag for grace with the purple heart. And Dr. Nefertina said, honoring a hero is what we are doing here. And I'm just going to put some pictures up here again of Dr. Robert H. Baer as I'm going through some of your comments here. So I see, remember, go to T2T.org to donate in honor of Dr. Bob Baer. Love you both. We love you. Beautiful queens. We can't even hold your coattail, Dr. Nefertina. Okay. Okay. Dr. Toya Glenn said, amen. Yes. How are we becoming? We're becoming. We're always becoming is what she said. My mom was saying something on here too. I saw an excellent book. Don't forget to get a copy of the book, The Essence of a Woman and Healthopedia. You can get them on Amazon, and you can also get them at drjodiebaer.com. And I saw comments from a lot of people. Oh, great. Oh, Dr. Lotus Roche said, another fantastic episode, conversation. My mom said, good morning, Kim and Dr. Jodie. My family and I are still praying for comfort and peace for you. Samuel said, and I don't know where all these comments are. Y'all must have been making comments all along, because I think
yes.
Anyway, Samuel says, great following you from Kabiria in Nairobi, Kenya. And lots of comments. Okay, so I haven't been able to read every single. Dr. Tina J. Ramsey with CTR Media Network said hello. And she also said, thank you so much for sharing this episode, Kim. And again, you can check the Kim Jacobs Show out on CTR Media Network right on Roku. So make sure you keep that in mind as well, because we are now on Roku. Thank you, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, for making that happen. All right, everybody. This is today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Let God just bless you, somebody to find you, just like Bob Baer found Dr. Jodie Baer just running down the beach, doing regular everyday activities. So you don't have to be doing something so significant in order to be found. Make sure you, wait a minute, my computer is about to die. Hold on. I want to make sure it doesn't die. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so make sure you get found by someone that God has for your life and to be able to still talk about you even well beyond when we're here on this earth. These are just some pictures. Okay, in honor of Dr. Robert H. Baer. Closing comment. How can people stay connected with you?
drjodie.com. Find us in New York. drjodie.com. You will find me on Instagram, Healthopedia 365. You will find me on Facebook. If you want to find out more about Bob, go to my personal site, Baer Robert Jodie. But Healthopedia is there. You'll get health tips, of course, and YouTube at Healthopedia 365. I'll be doing an elongated broadcast just because I wanted to. Just because. Do those things just because. Do those things just because it makes you embrace your stress, embrace your grief. Hashtag grace in that there is grace in grief, and it's a beautiful thing, and gratitude. But most of all, I know that Lotus, know her well. Notice that with her great event on the, because I had a kind of a reset of the R I do every single day through these. I make sure that I reset, I recharge, and I renew. But make sure most of anything with our book, with The Essence of a Woman, 1 out of 5 children are going hungry each and every day. And not in Zimbabwe, in America. And we were able to donate a portion of our book sales to the children and Hurricane Helene. It's cold in North Carolina. It's been cold, and they're still in a tent, not even in a FEMA trailer. They're hungry. We can do something about when you buy a book and then get another for the friend. Did we ever do anything by ourselves as women? No, we always are doing something together. All right. Buy a book for yourself, buy one for a friend. You feed that child for a month, keep that going, and we can continue this tidal wave through America and to the world. That is the essence of a woman, and that's our mission, Kim. Thank you for letting me share this noble cause again with so much that you do for humanity as well.
Well, it's my honor, my privilege. Thank you for being so transparent, for helping us learn how to better embrace stress, for helping us understand that all of us have some level of beauty inside of us as women. If you're watching as a woman and even as a man, that there's the essence of who we are rising from the ashes and being able to have a victorious life. So thank you so much for all that you represent, Dr. Dee Baer, and you all stay connected with her. We love you. Thank you for being the world-renowned foundational health coach and for being a part of our lives. There is grace in grief. I see you. I see you. I see all of you all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in for today's episode. I absolutely love you all and have a great day and a wonderful rest of your holiday. All right. God bless you all. We're going to disconnect here. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.